anthem. Thank you. While still remaining upstanding for a word of prayer. Kindly, the lady, if you can come forward.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we are grateful to you this morning. Thank you, Lord, for such an opportunity like this to be here this morning. We exalt your name above all other names. Lord, it is 2 years ago that we met here again for a Roundtable, and you brought us back in the year 2026. We are grateful to you, we adore you, we worship you. Thank you, Father, for this industry, the Sacco industry. It is an industry that takes care of the very vulnerable in the community. We are grateful to you, Father, because of the impact that we've had to your children in this country. We adore you, Jehovah. We commit ourselves to you this morning. Lord, as we sit down here to discuss more about how to go about the way forward concerning this industry, the policies, the compliance, and the issues concerning this industry with an objective of taking care of your children and their deposits, Lord, and growing them economically. We ask for your presence, O God. Guide us through, O Jehovah. We also come before you, repenting of any sins we have committed during our working in this industry, my Father. We have had some Kenyans cry because of losing their funds in this industry. It's our prayer, Jehovah God, that no Kenya will ever lose their funds when they bring it to this industry, when they bring it to us so that you manage it for them. Guide us through, Jehovah. Thank you because of our regulator who has brought us together here so that we may discuss and we may have a discussion, we may have a way forward. We will pray, Jehovah, that you may guide them. We thank you because of our CEO who was appointed recently. We commit him to you this morning. Jehovah, he has a tough task ahead of him, but when he is with you, Jehovah, you shall lead him, you shall guide him. May you guide him through, Jehovah, as he leads us in this industry, and be with him, oh God. Thank you for everyone who is serving in this industry. Give us wisdom, Jehovah, and help us to be good stewards, because, Lord, we are not only accountable to our members, we are also accountable to you. Therefore, be there for us, Jehovah, and guide us. Give us wisdom to take good care of the members' funds. In Jesus' name we pray and believe.
Let's be seated. To the chief guest, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Cooperatives, Patrick Kilemi, Chair of the Board of SASRA, Directors of SASRA, NACOS, Chair of Boards of Saccos, Chairs of the Supervisory Committee, CEOs of Saccos, and all their representatives, invited guests, including our dear facilitators. Good morning. Good morning once more. We welcome you to this platform. It is the 4th edition of Regulators Roundtable, where we are expected to share the policy issues. Before we go further in terms of the program, I think courtesy demands that we will be walked through the security features of the hotel for our preparedness, and therefore I call upon the representative of the hotel, if at all they are around, to come forward, probably to welcome us and share with us some of the security features. Okay, as we wait for them, chief guest, we move to the next stage where we should know who is in the house. These are the deposit-taking Saccos regulated by authority. So as at the final tally we did this morning, we had already received closer to 380 participants, and some are still coming. Because of that number, we may not pass the mic through for everybody to introduce him or herself. However, we'll just appreciate, based on the region they are coming from, and allow me to start with Nairobi. Just stand up for us to appreciate you and for the chief guest to take note. Nairobi. So this is the majority. I don't know why people still love capital city despite the fact that we are decentralized. Karibuni sana and feel welcome in Naivasha. We have cooperators far from coast, the coast region. Karibuni sana. Nyanza region. There they are. Feel welcome. Those who have come from Western, there we are. Karibuni sana and feel at home. Central. Excellent. Eastern, and probably we mix with Northeastern. Eastern. Eastern and Northeastern. Eh? Can Eastern sit? We see Northeastern. Unfortunately, sir, we have cooperatives there, but we may not have regulated Saccos, but we have some Saccos with their branches serving our dear colleagues there. Rift Valley, that's the host region. Karibuni sana and feel welcome. The unnamed region. Is there a region that we've not named so that you don't feel left out? Thank you. My history is still well. I still know the previous regions despite the evolution. Karibuni sana. So at this stage, allow me to welcome the Chief Executive Officer of the authority, Mr. David Sandaji, to come and introduce the guests, probably and staff, and of course run with the next phase of the program. Karibu sana, David. Round of applause for him. As soon as the security officers of the facility comes, we'll give them a chance.
our chief guest, Principal Secretary Patrick Kilemi, our board, led by our very able chairperson, Honorable Jackton Ranguma, His Excellency, staff of SASRA, dear cooperators, NACOs in the house, good morning. Good morning once again. Now, my name is David Sandaji, and I'm very privileged to stand before you here today. I'm not new within this sector, but of course, we are now moving towards a new dispensation following completion of a transition process. And indeed, it is a very big pleasure for me to be standing before you here today. I want to preemptively welcome you to the 4th edition of our regulatory roundtable for deposit-taking Saccos. And before I make a few brief remarks about where we stand as an industry, I think it is my honor to acknowledge the presence of a number of our key partners and stakeholders within this ecosystem. First and foremost, I would wish to recognize the presence of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, represented by Vincent Marangu. Makofi kwake tafadhali. We are as well privileged to have with us Bwana Richard from CIC Insurance. Makofi kwake tafadhali. And with your permission kindly, perhaps a minute each, I would request Bwana Marangu to come and perhaps give a remark or two representing that section of the NACOs. I do not know whether we have representation from Cusco. We did get confirmation from the CEO of his attendance. I don't know whether he has come in yet. Okay, I think we shall envisage that he will join us in due course, within the course of this program. Do we have representation from ACOSCA? Right there at the back. And of course, please receive apologies from CAK. So, Bwana Marangu, as you then represent the NACOs. Karibu sana.
Thank you, CEO. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, Mr. Patrick Kilemi, the Chairman of the Board and the Board of SASRA, the Chief Executive, Mr. David, and your senior staff, dear leaders of the Sacco subsector, good morning. It's a privilege, CEO, to join you today in this 4th Regulators Roundtable. It's the first one that I've attended, and I'm glad to see the large turnout. Our sector is becoming strong because of the good leadership that we have within our regulator. We have a very able regulator, and we are very proud of the work that you continue to do. Our sector has matured. We are earning respect every single day. I'm very proud to consume some of the good reports that come from the regulator, whether it is the Sacco supervision report, the quarterly report that you are now producing. You're becoming a very reliable reservoir of knowledge of the Sacco sector. And I encourage you, Bwana CEO, that as you continue with the innovations that you're encouraging within the sector, you continue working with us, other partners in the sector, so that we can become one very strong Sacco subsector. Otherwise, thank you very much. I'm keen to learn the new things that you're doing, whether it is the risk-based provision and the many other things you want to bring to our knowledge. We'll be happy to be part of that, and we'll continue supporting this sector. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much, Bwana Marangu. This juncture, I would wish to introduce to you our staff at the authority and request that they stand. I won't take too long. I will introduce them by name for the senior management, and I think for the rest, because we have about 40 plus of our colleagues who are supporting this event. Starting us off, we have our very able Corporation Secretary, Madam Roslyn Ragama, Corporation Secretary and Director, Legal Services. We have Director, Licensing, Enforcement and Regulations, Mr. Peter Wira, right here with us. We have Director, Compliance, Mr. Jeremy Were. We have Manager, Licensing, Regulations, Dr. David Kahudu. We have Head of Corporate Communications with us, Yvonne Gatobu. We as well have the Head of Compliance, Manager Compliance, Nora Biomdo. Yeah, she's right there at the back, and I'm sure you'll keep interacting with her in the course of this program. As well, I would just wish to acknowledge and note the presence of the county level of government in the room. And I think from a hierarchical perspective, they'll get their chance to make comments as we progress. But just preemptively, we have Director Cooperatives Nairobi. This is Madam Dolphin Aremo. And she must be known to all of you, Madam Cooperatives. We also have Director Cooperatives, Nakuru County. Madam, karibu sana. So as we move on to the next phase of this launch, or rather commencement of this regulatory roundtable, allow me to just highlight a few statistics about where we stand. As we commenced the year 2026, and as we may be aware, the authority did license 357 Saccos. Again, as we may be aware, these Saccos are disaggregated in two forms or two segments. We have deposit-taking Saccos, yourselves, and we also have non-deposit-taking Saccos. Cumulatively, 357 of you. As of now, the total assets under our regulatory oversight stands at 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings. Out of the 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings, we have close to 950 billion that is towards loans to members, and just shy of 900 billion in deposits. When we look at the distribution of assets across the two segments of Saccos, what we note is that as you sit here today as deposit-taking Saccos, you control 89% of the assets of the regulated entities in the country. So we are looking at 1.0 trillion shillings in assets that is within us here today. That's about 89%. When we look at deposits, when we look at loans, the trend follows. So indeed, there is quite a heavy level of skewedness in terms of control of the industry within the deposit-taking Saccos. And of course, there are reasons to this, given the fact that deposit-taking Saccos have higher ability to mobilize deposits, diversify product range, and enhance their membership. When we look at the industry as we speak, this industry consolidatedly controls or has a membership of 7.8 million members, out of which 7.3 million are within us as deposit-taking Saccos. And hence, yet again, that level of skewedness for the very reasons that I mentioned. From a stability perspective, we have seen capital, core capital, grow steadily in aggregate. That notwithstanding, we acknowledge that a number of us have certain challenges growing and maintaining capital. And hence, part of our discussions today will be on certain sustainability propositions that we would need to consider as regulated Saccos to enhance our ability to not only mobilize deposits, but effectively deliver our services without compromising on the stability. Non-performing loans is an interesting aspect because whereas the financial system sector, particularly from a perspective of credit delivery, talks of double-digit NPLs. For ourselves as deposit-taking Saccos, we are just shy of the 5% industry benchmark. And indeed, we currently stand at 6.2% non-performing loans. But as we look at that percentile, then we also need to be very cautious about what it portends. What we have seen is that perhaps there is a consideration to review the lending terms, to restructure loans, but that in itself comes or presents certain cash flow, asset liability management challenges. And as much as we are talking of 6.2% NPL, as a regulator, we would wish that you take keen interest in how you are reviewing your products, loan products, how you are reassessing risks, because we should not be at a point of comfort. Within the period of our regulatory assessment of your performance, we again observe a challenge of problem assets, and this replayed itself in the process of approval of accounts. And on that basis, then, we have engaged the Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and within this program, you shall be able to engage with them on most appropriate ways of handling the matter. During approval of your audited accounts, we did enhance our scrutiny of your numbers because we look at certain legacy issues, sustainability issues, and hence the question around sustainability of dividend payouts has played out. But then we also ask ourselves, as we make these declarations, on what basis, how sustainable, is there adequate capacity, and we'll be able to speak to this within the course of this program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also very fortunate to have partnered with the NCLR to develop the first ever Sacco financial case digest, which shall be a point of leverage for us as we look at the jurisprudence within this industry, and to further that then have an engagement with the cooperative tribunal. And what we appreciate is that this jurisprudence confirms the extent of application of the Sacco law, legal and regulatory framework. So colleagues and participants, I want to welcome you once again to this fourth regulatory roundtable. Wish you all the best in your deliberations. And at this juncture, allow me to kindly invite our very able chairman, His Excellency, Jackton Ranguma, CPA, to kindly make his remarks to yourselves and progress with the program from here. Asanteni sana.
The Principal Secretary, State Department of Cooperatives, who is our chief guest today, fellow members of the Board of Directors of SASRA present here, who I will introduce to you shortly. The Commissioner of Cooperatives was expected to be here, but he's also a member of the board. Our new kid in the block, the new CEO, David Sandaji, SASRA management and staff who have been introduced to you today, county cooperative directors from Nakuru. I don't know if the Nakuru one is here, but I know Madam Remo is around. Mombasa County I have not seen, but I expect them to be around. County cooperative officers present, chairpersons and members of boards of directors of Saccos present, CEOs of Saccos, distinguished cooperative leaders present. I know I saw Mr. Marangu around. We want to welcome you, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to just make these remarks before I refer to my speech of today. You know, when you give a politician a podium, I see you as a stock, because I want to address you with matters relating to Kisumu. But today I have a different role because I am a regulator, and a regulator that must give direction in line with the policies of the government of the day. The government of Kenya has taken a very keen interest in the annual regulatory policy and legal roundtable for deposit-taking Sacco societies 2026. We had a meeting with the NWDTs recently. So on behalf of the board of Sacco Societies Regulatory Authority, I want to extend a warm welcome to the chief guest present here, the principal secretary, and to all of you who have found time to be here. I see it's like a full house today. Allow me at this juncture to introduce members of the board of SASRA present here. We help authority for the steady growth that we are continuing to experience and see within the Sacco sector. I want to, as I did, welcome the Sacco, the leadership of regulated Saccos, and I was told that this is a record number today, and as a board, as an authority, we are happy that we will be speaking to you on those matters that the CEO have itemized, and they are important for our growth as a sector. Why do we convene this roundtable? That, I think, is important for you to know and understand. We are convinced that supervision works best as an engagement, not as a one-way instruction. We want to engage with you as opposed to telling you what to do. Because when there is a feedback process in it, that is critical. This is the idea behind the annual roundtable. We bring the authorities board, our management, and technical staff into the same room where we are today as the people who run the Sacco institutions. In fact, they say that good regulation depends on this kind of continuous engagement because we listen, we learn, we exchange ideas, and collectively address the challenges and industry, the challenges of the industry together as a team sitting to foster progress. The questions you raise here shape how we supervise you, shape our thinking, shape our decisions as to how we continue to engage, and the issues we flag here should shape how you govern, because you are also leaders that are important. As a sector, we have good reason to be proud of the progress made over the years. The Sacco movement continues to advance financial inclusion, mobilize domestic savings, support enterprise, and lift the well-being of millions of members. And the chief executive did indicate that we are actually now approaching, is it approaching, or we are up now about a trillion strong in terms of asset base. And that, I think, is no mean achievement, because we are now moving in the realm of banks. We must also be honest about the operating environment. That, I think, is what is important, because that environment guides how we continue to engage going forward. This environment continues to grow more complex, and Sacco leaders today work amidst technological disruption, higher regulatory expectations from your members, emerging cyber threats, changing financial reporting standards that are promulgated for the world as a whole, governance pressures, and rising member expectations. None of these will resolve itself unless we sit, discuss, and agree on how we progress them, and consult with our other colleagues in the various sectors that work together with us as we promote issues relating to governance. We meet at a time when the sector faces legal challenges that have necessitated a relook at our legal and regulatory framework. As you are aware, we still do not have a safety net in form of deposit guarantee, which we believe will help us progress. We still do not have a functional cushion for a myriad of liquidity challenges and management concerns or management problems. And of course, we are keen to ensure that there is what we call a lender of last resort for the Sacco industry. These are areas that we are focusing on as a government. Fortunately, the Sacco Societies Amendment Bill 2025, which is before Parliament, aims to operationalize the DGF, set up a central liquidity facility, and allow primary SACCOs to form secondary societies for shared services and liquidity support. And our objective also as an authority is to ensure that we empower self-regulation. Before you get to us, your peer is looking at you to ensure that you align to the policies of the government. The board of SASRA supports these reforms and confirms that the authority is preparing its systems, supervision processes, and building capacity of our staff in readiness of the implementation of the proposed new law as soon as it is enacted. I was informed by the CEO that yesterday you were taken through the technical processes of RBSS. RBSS is a risk-based supervision system. We are not able to see all your problems, but we will look at those areas of risk that we want to focus on with you. Eventually, in the future, we'll be able to, from the comfort of our office, see exactly what you do daily basis through a robust screen that will help management in SASRA to ensure that you are moving in the right direction with everybody. The government, as you are aware, is generally concerned about issues governance. This I hope you know, and it has been emphasized many times by the Cabinet Secretary and the Principal Secretary. Allow me to speak to the board. The failures we have seen in the recent past were governance failures, first, and accounting failures, second. Boards that did not ask hard questions, oversight that deferred matters to management instead of holding it to account, risk appetites that were never written down, let alone enforced. The fit and proper standard exists for a reason. This we must emphasize, because it requires each one of you to live up to it. No regulation can substitute for a board that does not do its job properly. So we expect you as a board to run all those areas that you are expected to do based on your instrument of empowerment or election. The planned sessions over the coming days up to Friday speak directly to institutional soundness. You will examine regulatory compliance and the functionalities of our risk-based supervision system solution, dispute resolution, and the role of the judiciary's cooperative tribunal, artificial intelligence, sustainability of rebates against the ongoing concern of your institutions, among others. None of these is a side matter. Each one of those things touches the safety of members' funds and the future competitiveness of your institution in this sector. In addition, the authority will launch the first ever edition of the Cooperative Financial and Sacco Law Digest, which reaffirms the authority's legal regulatory powers in exercise of its statutory mandate. We want to work with you to ensure that this becomes a success and we reduce those risks that are associated with the court. When Principal Secretary, your leadership in the ministry along with the CS comes at a pivotal moment for the cooperative movement today. The government's commitment to stronger governance, accountability, innovation, and sustainability gives the sector a firm foundation to build on. We are confident that the guidance you continue to offer will move Sacco leaders to readily take up the reforms, strengthen their institutions, and position them to support the country's economic transformation, because it is believed that Saccos will provide that platform for the growth of our GDP. In conclusion, allow me to say this, that the authority is ready for the reforms that we have set in motion, and we treat them as an opportunity to strengthen both our supervision and to strengthen the institutions that we supervise. That is all of you as you sit here, it is critical. I want to thank you, Bwana Piers, for your continuous engagement with SASRA as a board and as an institution that supervises this sector, and for the policy direction that you continue to give to help strengthen the sector as a whole. It is now my pleasure and honor to invite the Principal Secretary, State Department of Cooperatives, to deliver his remarks. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Bwana Chairman. Maybe before I make my remarks, I've seen the CEO of Cusco has come. I can give a minute to come and say hi to the participants. Arnold, please. Na atoe faini ya kuchelewa, si ndio?
Thank you, Bwana PS, for breaking the protocol. Leaders, CEOs who are present, all protocols observed. Good morning. Good morning once again. God is good, and all the time. Because now I have my boss behind me, my duty is just to say that we are together in this journey. And I want to remind you that Cusco belongs to you, and we are committed to endeavoring to ensure that we advocate on your behalf, and we make sure that you have a very conducive working environment. Asanteni.
Thank you, Arnold. All the invited guests, the leadership of SASRA, good morning again. This is big. I was telling the CEO, this is bigger than I thought. And I was about to go and call the CS and tell him, this is beyond my paying grade. Because in here, I showed us that carry that 1 trillion the chairman spoke about. And 1 trillion is a lot of money. When you hear about our GDP and our contribution, why they talk about us is because of that weight of 1 trillion. But thank you. Because all of you occupy positions of responsibility. And you know, it's different from being a chairman of our or a Mera cooperative than being a chairman of a financial cooperative. Because what you carry is real money. So I really want to thank you. Because in your many small things you do, you have put this country in the world map of financial cooperatives. We not only leaned the continent, but when we speak, the world listens to us about matters, financial inclusion, and matters, Saccos, or credit unions as they are called elsewhere. I'm bringing you greetings and very warm regards from the team lead of the Ministry of Cooperatives at MSC, Honorable FCPA, Dr. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. He is doing ministry things, so he's entangled some things he's doing for the ministry, and he could not be able to join us. So he asked me to come and pass his regards and represent him in this gathering, and to reassure you that it is all well. As a ministry, we really appreciate, because you can imagine if you are not there, we could not be there. If it is not, it is what you do that makes the president, when he is given that constitutional limitation of you must have a maximum of 22 ministries. Not some are given, no, you must have interior, those are given, education, health. I can imagine there are 10, which are almost like given. Then you must allocate all the other sections of the country ministries. And we make the mark. We have a Ministry of Cooperatives at MSME. It is because of what you do, which gives the visibility, the weight, the significance to actually secure a ministry. So I really want to thank you. It is okay, you can clap. I was about to say better still, say them better. and we are, sometimes we underestimate how people look at us. We underestimate what this means to the world. Matters financial inclusion. We are proof to many other places that this model works, and more so, it can work to the lower portions, lower, they call us developing economies. And for us who are in a rush to go to Singapore, I think we need to stretch a little bit faster. As a ministry, and more so as a department, when we came in, one of the key things people used to say, you know, you get men and advisors, they tell you Sastra is weak. No. I'm glad, as I stand here today, I hear some people saying Sastra is getting strong. And it will get very, very strong. It will get so strong because it will be regulating that weight you people carry. We'll make sure that we have a regulator that has the tools of trade to carry that responsibility. In fact, I heard the chairman say, we have a turnout of 95%. And I was telling them in the small room, the holding room, but it is written in the holy book that one sheep which is lost, we need to pay attention to it. Why would 5% not turn up to an invitation by the regulator of the Saccos in this country? It passes me. Then which other meeting should they attend? I think, David, you are hearing what I'm saying. Allow me again, before I read the minister's speech, to really congratulate David. Now we have a substantive CEO for Sasra. Please stand up, David, and we all applaud him as we wish him all the very best. David, serve with courage. Serve within the precepts of law. Serve with wisdom. You have the support of the State Department of Cooperatives. You have the support of the government of Kenya. And importantly, you have the trust of the people who are in this room. I thank you. You know, those who come from on Kenya East, ukiona kitu mzuri unasema David ni fire, si fire. Lakini sitasema. This podium chairman has many things this season. You stand here, you get like spirits. I want to thank our partners, people who work with us this journey. There are people who support us. And I thank the way the industry is organized and the things we have been doing. We see results in many, many ways. And it's good because the wheel of government turns slowly. Sometimes so slowly, you think it's not turning, but it is actually turning. Just last week, there was a forum of chairmen of cooperatives in Mombasa. I was not there, and I did not ask for intel, but you know, people, watu wanajituma tu. Sasa mwingine akaniambia, no chairman, tuko tunasema, the CEOs are so organized, we guys are not organized. I think that's a good outcome. Let the chairman be organized. Let the chairman meet and talk. Let the chairman give us wisdom. Because the members of Saccos and other cooperatives do not elect CEOs. They elect those chairmen, they elect those directors. In fact, you are the ones who carry that burden of trust. And you delegate that burden to the CEOs when you appoint them. So I am 100% behind you, chairman. Let us caucus like civilized people do. And when we speak knowing that we are speaking for people, we are speaking for country. And sometimes things may not go our directions. Sometimes things may not go our speed. But we know the wheel moves, albeit slowly, but it moves. The country moves on. Life always moves on. To me, that's the biggest lesson I've learned transitioning from private sector to public sector for the last 4 years. Nimewekwa spin governor. Things which look very obvious are not actually obvious when it comes to public management. For example, in Meru, we said Meru is one of the few counties. The 5th richest county in Kenya does not have a golf club. Then we said we have a golf club. A proposal was put. Nimepigwa the last 2 days. But in the midst of the noise, you hear feedback. Because people will tell you, sasa unatuambia mambo ya nguvu wewe, na hata hospitali ina dawa. You know, you realize how those two things are not related. Mambo sasa serikali badala ya kufikiria mambo ya mashule mnajenga Ebola. But I thank God we have a system that somehow works despite, and it's going to have the noise. There are places where you don't hear this noise. Across the border in Rwanda, in fact, if you have a good friends, anakuambia minimize the use of the letter K when you're in that country. You minimize, unaweza sema Kilemi iseme jina ingine, ikulete shida. I thank God for the space we have in this country where we can talk, we can agree, and finally agree to disagree, or disagree even to. Allow me, I was supposed to tell you what the minister was thinking about this meeting, and I want to do exactly that. So today, I'm honored to join you for this very important regulatory roundtable, which brings together the leadership of all deposit-taking Saccos except 5%. Allow me at the onset to commend SASRA for convening this forum. It is a unique and an innovative idea that accords you leaders, chairmen, CEOs, an opportunity to take stock of your compliance status, help identify policy gaps, and caucus on how we can address them collectively. This fourth edition of the regulatory roundtable is also timely, given the ministry is currently deeply engaged in programs that are aimed at reforming the sector, to recalibrate our circles to be more efficient, to improve our members' confidence, and enable them to grow as a real alternative financial services provider in this beautiful country of ours, Kenya. You are aware the ministry takes care of the micro, small and medium enterprise aspect of this country. And the major challenge in that sector has been obtaining financial services to enable them to expand their businesses. And this is because people view this sector as risky and they hesitate to do business with them. It is therefore my conviction as the minister that the deposit-taking Sacco should be the desired alternative to provide financial support to our MSMEs. The result will be mutual benefit, where MSMEs get credit at attractive rates, while Saccos, on the other hand, are able to grow their businesses. And I want to commend some Saccos which are doing extremely very well in this sector, the MSME sector. And this is why I continue to emphasize the critical role cooperatives play in our economic development, and therefore the need for enhanced corporate governance and strong institution frameworks which ensure that the safety of members' funds. It is only through good corporate governance that you expand your membership base and attract more savings. Credit at competitive terms offers an opportunity for you to grow your sector. The government remains very committed to strengthening the cooperative movement as a key pillar of, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. With more than 14 million members and more than 3 trillion in the space of cooperatives, 1.2 or so within Saccos, the sector owns the largest pool of household domestic savings in this country. My task upon assuming office, this is more than a year ago, this is the minister now saying, was to assess the Sacco industry operational and regulatory environment to appreciate the scenario. And in the process, I noted there were legal, regulatory, and instrumental challenges facing the industry. Apart from the governance challenges, it became apparent that there was need to build a capacity of a regulator and establish a requisite financial infrastructure to enable SASRA effectively address regulatory challenges in the modern financial regulation framework. For instance, currently there is no safety net in the Sacco industry, which means I'm hesitant to use the word, in the unlikely event of a Sacco failure, members will not be compensated as it is in the banking sector. Equally, Saccos lack any form of centrality matters, liquidity matters, shared services to enable provision of cost-effective and effective financial services to their members. This is in addition to lack of short-term rescue measures for Saccos in instances of financial distress or peaks that require little push to turn around. And this is the reason why we have witnessed in parts of the sector where member savings have been lost and public confidence debted. The remedy therefore lies in the proposed reforms underpinned by the legislative review now before Parliament, the Sacco Societies Amendment Bill 2025. And I want to thank many of you participating in the process. Many of you have given feedback to Parliament about their view, their vision, and their aspirations for this particular bill. When enacted, the gaps identified include the Deposit Guarantee Fund, Central Liquidity Facility, shared services, Stabilization Fund or facility to strengthen SASRA's resolution capacity will go a long way in enhancing stability and efficiency of the Sacco industry. The long-term soundness of the Sacco sector is therefore not merely a regulatory objective, it is a national economic priority. Ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, the program of this roundtable is both timely and well chosen. Over the coming days, you will deliberate on matters that resonate with the heart of the institutional and institutional resilience, and therefore, allow me to speak briefly to the sessions ahead. A strong cooperative movement rests on good governance that can resolve disputes fairly, quickly, and openly. the judiciary, cooperative tribunal is an important safeguard for members and institutions alike. Where disputes fester, institutions suffer reputational damage, operation disruption, and loss of member confidence. I encourage you to use the tribunal properly, and above all, strengthen your internal governance that stops disputes from arising in the very first place. In addition, I'm very pleased to know that SASRA, in partnership with the National Council for Law Reporting, have published the first ever Sacco case digest. I'm honored to launch this digest today and urge all of us to take time to read, reflect on the jurisprudence within the Sacco industry and impact on our institutions as detailed within the digest. I think this is a key milestone. And you know, when people talk about AI, you are now you're providing AI matters, jurisprudence matters, case law, SACCOs with primary information. What this does is that if you have a dispute, which is like a dispute has happened elsewhere, you can go and look at it, you can know the possible outcomes, and you can decide, do you want to pursue this or not? My appeal is, let our legal department look, review at this report, prepare summaries for our board, for our top executive, and tell them, let us make use of this report. Lawyers will tell you, and you see that all the time, because now in Kenya people are very good in these things. Case law, they refer to what happened in the past. Let us be students of history. If you know a matter was resolved this, it is useless for you to expect a tribunal to contradict a matter that been as decided before. The emergence of artificial intelligence brings both opportunity and risk. If well applied, it can transform member service, sharpen credit assessment, and strengthen risk management. On the other hand, it also introduces conduct risk you cannot ignore: biased decisions, weak data protection, and pressure on member rights. Technology must remain a source of trust and inclusion, not a source of vulnerability. Boards must therefore own the governance of these tools rather than leave them to the ICT department, since regulatory awareness here is a leadership duty. ICT, and you know, matters technology are not straightforward. In my thinking, the ICT director or the ICT manager should rank pari passu with the finance director, with the operations director. They should be C-suite holders. In my thinking, the biggest risk we face as now SACCOs and as financial institutions, even in banks, is a risk which is posed by the platforms we use, which are complex. Yes, last evening we were discussing ICT within the Sacco with the CEO of Unitas. I must confess I was impressed. I had to ask him, are you an ICT practitioner? He told me you cannot be a CEO unless you understand these people. My appeal to you, Chairman, board members, let us understand these ICT people. What is? There's one thing to say com banking. There's one thing to say. You ask yourself, what is it doing for us? How is it doing it? And what risk does it pose? This week, I met some ICT. Everybody is caucusing, Chairman. The ICT practitioners within the Sacco system are also caucusing. They have an association. So they came to see me and we were discussing. We were actually planning, they're asking me for support to have an ICT forum, which we plan to have in the first week of August, to discuss only ICT within the Sacco ecosystem. And I was asking them the opportunities we have, matters, shared services. For example, here, Marango there, Cooperative Bank has a core banking system. The core banking system of Cooperative Bank, they will not allow you to go there unless through a gate and door with safety precautions. The handshake is done by somebody called an integrator between the Sacco core system and the banking core system. The instructions are relayed between the two systems by that facilitator. And I was asking those practitioners yesterday, of all the things shared, why can't Saccos have a vehicle that is giving them, facilitating this handshake between your various core banking and our banking partners? Why is it that our space is littered with some pretenders who we have absolutely no control? And these people have so much power because they are the ones who create the algorithms. I took time to understand these things. They are all reminds me of my first computer class at the University of Nairobi. There were two big machines in Chiromo. One was called a Kiddy, the other one was called a Camille. I'm telling you, have come from far. But what the professor told us that time stands even today, because the algorithms of the AI they're using are still the same. It's combinations of 1 and 0. But those algorithms are the ones which they work within a blink of a second. You'll never know. When you go to your M-Pesa, you give instruction to withdraw money from your Sacco to your phone, you get money within a second. But that communication has been done. Your phone is speaking to the system is speaking to the creator, the creator has given instruction to Cooperative Bank, the money has been transferred to your phone. You may never know. But what kind of controls do we have over these players in our spaces? We sit as the board, we say, this is the instructions. We give the CEO issues them to our ICT directors. What kind of controls do we have? I don't know who sees the opportunity we have to have more say matters ICT within our space. But we'll be having that discussion now with the practitioners themselves. I'm hoping Sasra will play a big role, Cusco will play a big role in bringing the ICT directors to share experiences, to learn from each other, and the CEOs, because they are the consumers of this information, and they're the ones who transmit this information to the board, to tell the board what that means. Because ultimately, we want to make the ICT decision in our circles to be a value-driven decision as opposed to be a procurement-driven decision. So my appeal is that let us support our ICT directors, our ICT managers, and our CEOs. We have this discussion. Let for once take control of the initiative matters ICT within our institutions. So as I've said, technology must remain a source of trust and inclusion, not a source of vulnerability. Our bond, and I speak now to the chairman here, as I said again, I'm repeating this. You must own the governance of these tools, and you must take charge. The decisions you get from the ICT department, you must be able to interpret it so that that decision, it is aligned with the bond's strategic direction of your Sacco. Let me talk about rebates and dividends. While rebates are important to demonstrate the value to the members, and of course, it deserves attention, they must sit within the Sacco's actual performance and, of course, compliance. We have, in many instances, observed where Saccos have gone on to declare dividends, despite the fact that they have not realized revenues for revenues to pay the dividends, or either paying these dividends from capital reserves and more carelessly borrowing to pay these dividends and interest. This brings a bigger philosophical question of capital reserves. Because we are encouraging Saccos to grow the institutional capital, to have more routes, to mobilize, of course, more shares. The question now this generation must face, or maybe the ones which will come after us will face, is the big question of member ownership, and more so the conflict with the philosophy of voluntarism in joining Saccos, cooperatives, is voluntary ownership. But there is a limitation of exit. Because I've had this argument. Somebody who joined Harambee Sacco in 1970 and gave both shares of 10,000 shillings in 1970. Today, in 2026, he has those shares and their value is still 10,000. So the financial practitioners ask me, look at what was the value of EMBL share or Kenya Commercial back in 1970? What is its value now? How do we unlock this potential? Another person was asking, and I want to float it to you, men and women of wisdom. Today, you continue to grow your core capital, you are retaining more, and which we encourage. But you find your member deposits vis-a-vis the institutional capital, the proportions are changing. As the share capital, core capital grows, the proportions are changing. And then the question I asked them was this: who owns this share capital, this core capital? And they told me it's the members. So what are the rights of members? And again, I go to the principle of voluntary entry. What rights do a member want? Or what right do a member have when it comes to exit? How do you calculate your right when you want to exit? No, they told me when you leave, you just leave. These are challenges. I said, maybe our generation can solve them. If we have courage, we can solve them. If we are unable, we can lay the foundation for the people who come after us. The other question I'm hearing, it makes sense. I thought it makes sense. In 1970, when you joined the Harambee Sacco, we have the guarantee system we have. In fact, mostly I was looking at it, it's 10%. You spread the risk to 10 of your friends, so that if you're taking 1 million, you are guaranteed by 10 people, so each one carries a burden of 10%, just in case. just in case you encounter the devil and something happens, which happens. So people come to my office trying to follow up money from people who they guaranteed. Have you people heard this? So the question is, as a principal secretary, am I supposed to call you? Maybe I can call you and tell you, Aki, fear God. Please switch off that phone, man. Because if, and the lawyers here, whether you are a lawyer, and Cap 490, what powers does the commissioner have? Matters. What? And I understand, I understand, and I understand that because I've done it myself. I've done it. That when I was discussing, that guy Mzee told me, that this process of carrying the form is, you feel nice when you are carrying the form to say, now in Mefika, I want to tell your friend, guarantee me. It's nice. But in 2026, as you go beyond, how do you mitigate that risk? Or maybe, and again I look at Richard, the man of insurance, are these underwritable opportunities? Again, this generation may solve those questions, but we may decide to leave them for future people, the people who come after us. The other day, we had an argument with Marango here, and I told him, I think we have missed some opportunities as a movement. And I gave him the example of Lisa. I told him, we are savings and credit cooperatives. Safaricom, without consulting us, went and started something called Lisa. And in less than 6 years, their loan book today is 1.4 trillion. I told Marango, I think there's an opportunity we missed. Marango says, no, our model is different. But I told him our model is to help our members where they need. It is to be there for our members at the point of their need. Nani akona fuliza hapa? I don't know. If I'm alone who thinks we missed the opportunity. Tala is above 300 billion. Our biggest Sacco, the loan book should be around 60 or so billion. And these are our members. These are our members. And the interest rates are not nice. They are crazy out there. Remember what we said, ICT. Are we leveraging opportunities being given by ICT to address our members' needs? Because now, I'm 100% sure 10 years ago, the way we say talks, mkutano mnasema, banks inataka kutumaliza. In fact, we build defenses to fight banks, to make sure that Equity, APSA, they don't come close to our Sacco financial ecosystem. And we miss to see the Fulisa attack. What attack is coming tomorrow? Again, I'll leave that question to the men and women of wisdom who are sitting in this room. The situation of dividends and rebates is pretty very dire. And that is why the ministry, the wisdom of becoming ministry directing the Commission of Cooperatives, to issue a circular guiding societies on the management of dividends and interest in members' deposits. I encourage you again to have a thorough reflection on this. In the meantime, the ministry is pleased that SASRA has been very, very vigilant in this area, and I urge you, the regulator, again, to continue enforcing the law to the letter on this particular matter. Then there is the other conversation, amalgamations. And as per the law, and actually per philosophy, nobody can force you to do amalgamation. But it is a growth strategy. It's a choice members must make. Across market, in this country, you see, institutions are pursuing partnerships, mergers, and consolidation to gain economies of scale, cut costs, and build resilience. The Cooperative Bill and the Sacco Amendment Bill contemplate the same logic for our sector. I appeal again for objectivity and strategic analysis of the opportunities you have. And more so, I urge you, the key drivers should be the interest of your members. For the long-term health of not the institutions you lead, but also for this sector. I know of two Saccos in the same ecosystem. But I was talking to the CEO, I was telling me, I want you to be a patron of one. He told me I can only be a patron of both. Same institution, two Saccos. Everything else, two. But the pay slip, the HR, the payroll, where members are getting results is the same. I don't know. But as I said again, I pray that the wisdom that comes only from up there, because there is always strength in unity. It cannot be there is strength in division when you are chairman, there are two chairmen you're competing. And as I've said many times, maybe the biggest even gift of leadership is to accept to be led. On cybersecurity again, the risk has moved from technical to the strategic table, and cybersecurity is no longer an ICT issue. It is actually a boardroom matter. I think I said this. ICT, cybersecurity, is a chairman's matter. Protecting member data, safeguarding your financial system, and keeping operations running through an attack must rank among the highest priorities for every board member who are represented here by chairman and the chairman of the supervision committee. It should be priority. You should ask questions about cybersecurity. You should ask questions about what is happening to your ICT platform. The inclusion of IFRS sustainability reporting standards, namely S1, S2, go to the integrity of our stand numbers and the confidence of those who rely on them. As institutions entrusted with public savings, you must own the highest standard of disclosure and financial reporting. You remember when the Cusco issue came, we ran to the armpit of IFRS. I can tell you it works magic. This is your opportunity, distinguished guest, for you to discuss policy and compliance issues and come with tangible way forward. The ministry will wait for the solution arising from this meeting, from this roundtable meeting, and we are ready to partner and pursue the policy proposals as appropriately may be suggested. The prayer of the ministry is that let this roundtable produce practical solutions, clear commitment, and a communique that the sector can act on. We don't want a list of good intentions. We want to move beyond compliance and towards transformation. Let me conclude by reminding you that the future of the Sacco sector will not be determined by SASRA or by regulation alone. It will be determined by the quality of the leadership within our institution. It will be determined by our willingness to adopt innovation, responsibility, strengthen governance relentlessly, and manage risk prudently, while placing members' interests at the center of every decision. The government of Kenya, through the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME, and more so its agency SASRA, will keep on supporting these reforms that strengthen stability, promote responsible innovation, and protect member and build public confidence in the movement. But the first responsibility for the soundness of each and every institution rests with the leaders, and I repeat, with the leaders in this room. Let us build SACCOs that are resilient, that are innovative, transparent, and trusted, that will keep serving millions of Kenyans, and more so, contributing to the national prosperity of this great country, Kenya. I want to wish you very fruitful deliberations and every success in your engagement. I thank you. I mean, God bless you. Sasa mimi naona siji tufanye maneno ingine, then I'll come back, maybe we can have an open session where I can take yeah. Sawa.
One round of applause for the PS. That's not enough for a good PS who has given us very strong words of wisdom. One more round again. PS, from your speech, from where we sit from the regulatory perspective, we can say that you've done for us 90% of our work. Very clear in terms of dividends and rebates. Let's just distribute what we can make. What we genuinely make is what we distribute. We are now moving to another phase of the program, and this is the launch of the case digest. At this juncture, allow me to call the Director of Legal Services to come and guide us in the program.
To our chief guest, the chairman of the board of the authority and the board members, the CEO, the NACOs, invited guests, Sacco leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure and honor today, our chief guest, the board members, the guests, and the leaders, ladies and gentlemen present here today, to witness this great occasion as we launch the first ever volume of the Cooperative Financial and Sacco Law Case Digest. Our chief guest, this has been a long-standing vision of the institution, that as we progress, as we implement, and the law gets tested through the courts of law, that we one day have a document that has all these documents put together to help the sector and the country at large, because this becomes a document that can be referenced by many people. Our chief guest in this regard, allow me to thank really our board, the management led by the CEO. And we also have within the authority what we call the in-house advocates forum, which has been established through a legal policy, so it has where it derives its authority from. Here we have about 5 members in the house who are very instrumental in making this dream come a reality. In addition, when our chief guest, we also worked very closely with the National Council for Law Reporting, who is represented by Teddy Musiga. With your permission, we'll give him a little bit, maybe 1 minute or so, just to say something on behalf of the CEO, who was to be here, but due to other commitments, was not able to be here, our chief guest. Now, just allow me briefly to highlight why do we have the case digest? It responds, when a chief guest, to the growing need for clear, accessible, and organized legal guidance on Sacco regulation. When SASRA started its operations in 2010, I remember the first cases we had, one was on the levy order. The first time we started charging levy, we were taken to court. And then when we also took the enforcement, the first time we suspended or removed the CEO from the office, again, we were taken to court. So it runs from 2011 to about 2025. Of course, we were leaving others for the next volume. So this, again, responds to that growing need, and it is in courts where we test the law. Is what we are doing as authority also legally recognized when it goes to courts of law? And we would like to proudly say, yes, the courts have affirmed the decisions, a number of decisions that the authority has taken in the process of its supervisory and regulatory mandate. So it brings together key court decisions that have shaped the interpretation and application of the Sacco laws in Kenya. For years, Bwana Chief Guest, the Sacco-related court decisions existed in scattered form. There will be, you can go to the website, get it through the Kenya Law website. You can get it maybe through other libraries. But this digest then creates a single reference, a point of regulations that Sacco leaders, the legal practitioners, judicial officers, and policy makers, researchers. We do have a lot of people come to SASRA for research. And this would become a very key document. And generally, the members at large, as the peers, you rightly said, if you are a Sacco member or a Sacco leader, and you feel there's an action that the authority maybe has taken or any other commissioner, but if there are cases that have been decided on that, it would help you to make a decision, do I really need to move with this, or I need to think of another direction? So it's a very good point of reference, as we rightly say, our chief guest. Now, the Sacco sector is now a major financial pillar in the economy. Like has been said, with over 1 trillion, that is a huge sector. So it needs the recognition even within the legal field that whatever it does is well documented. So as SACCOs grow, issues of governance, licensing, and supervision, enforcement, dispute resolution, and member protection require legal certainty. And it is through the courts of law that we test that certainty of the law. The case digest, therefore, seeks to promote legal certainty, strengthen compliance, because once we know which direction we need to go, even the SACCOs themselves will be able to follow, that path, thus strengthening compliance. It will guide in regulatory decision. Indeed, our chief guest, as a result of this, we also did revise our enforcement procedures manual, guided by some of the decisions and issues that the courts have highlighted. So in a nutshell, it is really a document that will go a long way in enriching the Sacco laws. Just to highlight the thematic areas on the cases that have gone to court, we have the role of the Senate in cooperative matters. We know anytime we go to Parliament, it is not just the National Assembly passing the law, but it has to go to the Senate. This has been tested, and the courts have affirmed itself. up to the Supreme Court, our chief guest. Then the powers of the authority to remove or suspend officers, licensing and supervisory powers of the authority, powers of the Commissioner for Cooperative Development, powers to surcharge and the like. Then exhaustion of local remedies, of the remedies in the dispute system. Before you can approach to the courts of law, where would you as a member or a leader go to resolve the dispute before going to courts of law? And then surcharge and jurisdiction of the cooperative tribunal. In addition, our chief guest, we've also, in that digest, included the Sacco Act and the subsidiary legislations, which will be accessed through QR codes, which have been created. And with that, with your permission, our chief guest, allow me to invite the representative of the National Council of Law Reporting, maybe to just give some highlights before inviting the CEO. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of my CEO, my name is Teddy Musiga from the National Council for Law Reporting. So I'm going to read her speech. The chief guest, the Honorable PS, the chair of the board of governors of SASRA, the Commissioner of Cooperatives, the CEO, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to join you today for the launch of the Cooperative and Financial Sector Case Digest. This is a significant milestone in the ongoing partnership between the National Council for Law Reporting and the Sacco Society's Regulatory Authority, SASRA. This publication reflects our shared commitment to enhancing access to legal information and promoting a deep understanding of the jurisprudence that shapes Kenya's cooperative and financial sectors. By bringing together and analyzing key decisions in this area, this digest will serve as an invaluable resource for regulators, judicial officers, legal practitioners, scholars, Sacco leaders, policymakers, and the public. At Kenya Law, we are the only state corporation in the Republic of Kenya that is mandated to perform two functions, law reporting and the revision of laws. We firmly believe that the future of law reporting lies not only in the comprehensive reporting of judicial decisions, but also in the development of specialized legal resources that make the law more accessible, relevant, and responsive to the needs of the specific sectors. This digest, therefore, is therefore more than a publication. It is an important step towards a more specialized and user-focused approach to legal research and law reporting. We are proud of this partnership. We are proud of what this partnership has achieved and deeply appreciate SASRA's vision, commitment, and collaboration in making this initiative a reality. The successful launch of this case digest demonstrates the value of strategic partnerships in advancing legal knowledge and strengthening institutions within the financial and cooperative sectors. As we celebrate this achievement, we also look to the future with optimism. We hope to continue building on this collaboration through further knowledge, products, research initiatives, and specialized publications that support informed decision-making and contribute to the growth and stability of the cooperative and financial sectors. On behalf of Kenya Law, I wish to reaffirm our commitment to this partnership and to congratulate SASRA and all those who contributed to the development of this important publication. I thank you all, signed by the CEO, Janet Munyoki. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teddy. And our chief guest, as the authorities carrier of the legal and authorities' legal jurisprudence and compliance, we do commit to ensure the periodical publications of this as a way to integrate the cooperative financial law into Kenyan legal and judicial psyche. So with that, allow me to welcome the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our Corporation Secretary. And indeed, please accept our appreciation for the work that has gone into this inaugural publication, together with the National Council for Law Reporting, as well as the caucus of lawyers. Kindly accept our appreciation. Mine at this juncture is just really to lay the ground for the razzmatazz, as we call it, but just to acknowledge that this first volume of the Case Digest of the Cooperative Financial and Sacco Law Case Digest in Kenya therefore highlights the key judicial decisions made by superior courts during the last decade in the implementation of our Act and the regulations thereunder. Critically for us is that this Case Digest has been modeled as a quick and ready guide to track the emerging jurisprudence on the Sacco supervision and regulation law, taking cognizance of the critical role with which judicial precedent plays in Kenya's judicial system. The initiative is consistent with our strategic objective, not just of licensing, regulating, and supervising Saccos, but in addition of promotion and development of the Sacco industry, with a view to positioning Saccos as preferred financial service providers to enhance financial inclusion and savings mobilization. As I conclude, we hope that this inaugural Case Digest shall form the basis for the commencement of a robust jurisprudential conversation on the place of Sacco law in general and Sacco supervision and regulation law by ingraining the same into our judicial conversation. It will also provide a ready-to-use reference for judicial officers, legal practitioners, ourselves as the regulatory entity, yourselves as recipients of our regulatory oversight methodology, and other policy analysts as well. And as we conclude as well, really appreciating our chairman for the support in the development of this very necessary financial case digest. This once again reaffirms our place as a knowledge institution, not only within the Sacco industry or cooperative industry, but the financial sector and the economy as a whole. Asanteni, and at this juncture, I request our head of corporate communications to come over and just guide us on the protocol that we may adopt as we launch this inaugural Sacco financial case digest. So karibu Yvonne.
Yeah, thank you so much, CEO, for this opportunity. So I'm going to invite yourself, chief guests, and our board members to join at the ribbon cutting area. The media team, I hope you're ready with the countdown. I think we can all be upstanding as we have this exercise because this is the first ever case digest I think the industry has ever So are we counting? A round of applause as we launch the first ever case digest. That is the Cooperative Financial and Sacco Law Case Digest. That is how it looks. It's a beautiful piece. And the content is very beautiful. So we can have the team just stand right behind the book. You can have them stand right behind the book for a photo session. The media team, is that sufficient? I think the best way to handle it, maybe they can come to the main stage with the books. Millicent, we can have a copy for each one of them to have a photo in the main stage. Yes, we'll have that group photo. Kindly let's have the book on the display, kindly. The next group we are going to have is, yes, you can have your seats. Thank you, PS. Yes, you're good. So, Bwana PS, don't leave the stage because we want to have, the board members can have their seats. We can have now the NACOs join you. Can have the NACOs, the CIC, Cooperative Bank, and the Cusco. For that photo session. Yeah, thank you so much. The next group I'm going to call upon is at least 5 regional representation of the SACCOs. And I'm going to call just randomly Nairobi County. We can have a Zina chair. We call him Mr. Sacco Central. We can have Shirika chairperson. Is she around? Coast, Imarika. Do you have Imarika chair? Fortitude Nyanza. Western IG. Eastern, we can have Solution. Is Solution around? The chair, Solution, Sacco. Central Uniters. We can balance the photo. Media team, kindly guide us. Thank you, Madam Esther. Yeah, at least we can see the industry is represented. Yes, we can pose now for the photo with the yeah, thank you so much. A round of applause for the industry. Are we set, media team? Thank you so much. The last team is the team that spent their sleepless nights to make this achievement a success, and that is the SASRA In-House Advocates Forum, led by the CS, our Corporation Secretary, Wakili Were. Where is Wakili Omogo? Leonard Kasaini. Indeed, this team spent, Bwana PS, they spent
sleepless nights working on this piece. Thank you so much, team. Yes, we can have that as our last photo. A round of applause for them. They did an amazing job. Yeah, thank you so much. Let us have our seats. Yes, and we've come to the end of this morning session. So we are going to break. But before we break for our tea, Director, you had something? Yes, before we break for our tea session, we'll have, as usual, our group photo set up at the field. Thank you.